presented by General Tire. Anywhere is possible. Welcome to In the Shop. I'm Clay, and today I'm here again with my good friend Dave from AEV with his Outpost 2 concept. So this thing like broke the internet this year, and we're very fortunate to have it in the shop, and thanks for bringing it down. So let's just dive into it. Like, how did this thing come to be? It's Outpost 2, so that implies that there might be something else.
Well, there was an Outpost 1.
Okay.
So yeah, 2006, when the JK first came out, we did a hardtop, kind of with a rooftop tent built into it, and that was the Outpost 1. And then as JK was going out last year the JK at SEMA, we kind of needed something cool for a show car.
Yep.
And so I decided to do Outpost 2, which was kind of a take that camper idea and expand it. And that kind of came from a trip where some friends of mine and I froze our butts off for a couple days out in Utah. And I was like, I need a Jeep with a warm, dry box.
Yeah.
That's kind of where this ended up being, you know, sort of a project. And
Yeah.
now people are like, can I buy it? And I'm like, well, you know.
No, not yet.
It's three,
Maybe.
you know, it's going to be 3 years for us to turn this into a product if we think there's a business case.
So the first one just had a pop top, but then you have taken this one, I mean, a whole lot further for the Outpost 2.
Yeah, this one was kind of, you know, the idea was 3-season, 2 people and a dog, you know, and kind of long weekend. So it's not a full live-in camper. It's not like a earth roamer or something giant. And it was supposed to be, you know, not take the four-wheel drive and off-road aspects of the Wrangler and ruin those by putting a giant camper on it. So it was keep it low, keep it tight, you know, and just, you know, this is 11 inches longer than a standard four-door Wrangler, and yet has a 6-foot by 8-foot box on the back. That, yeah, it turns out it's like a really nice livable space. And with the roof that goes up, it ends up feeling really big and really comfortable.
So with it being a concept, how much of this is left stock?
Yeah, pretty much the door, the fender, the fender flare.
Okay. And the grill?
The grill and the dash, I guess, are stock. You know, other
Everything
than that,
else you've touched. So that just goes to say how much would have, you know, that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and granted, this one has custom Dynatrack axles, which you really don't, you know, you wouldn't need.
Yeah.
It's got a Hemi in it, which especially like on the new JL platform,
Yeah.
with the 8-speed, you don't really need.
Sure.
So this one's got a lot done to it because we kind of threw our whole catalog at this one.
Yeah.
But there's, you know, do you really need all that? No, you don't.
Sure.
It's cool.
Yeah.
But, and it's, you know, it's really good. But I learned a lot of things too. It's fully open. It's a fully pass-through.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
That is nice.
And it's also not nice because then you kind of have to be really careful about how you package everything. And even like beers in the fridge annoy me.
Yeah.
Because like any little rattle I hate.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, those beers are rattling. I need to like, you know.
Contain them.
Yeah, figure that out.
Somehow, yeah.
Yeah.
But it opens up the space. I mean, it's nice to be able to look in. It probably lets a little bit more light out. I can even see here that from where the fridge is, you could maybe even get to it from the driver's seat, or at least the passenger if you turned around.
You can definitely get to the fridge from inside. I mean, that was kind of a critical thing. I wanted an indoor and outdoor kitchen. So this is the galley. You can get to it from either side. There's cabinet doors on the inside.
Okay.
And it was kind of, like I said, it's set up for 3 seasons. It's mostly set up for outside. I don't really think you're going to cook bacon or something inside this little thing, but you can definitely make coffee inside comfortably and, you know, do that kind of stuff. But, you know, this is not a 4-season, you know, big-time camper. But this is, for what a lot of people do, this is perfect.
How many years ago did you start AEV?
21.
21 years ago.
Yeah.
Last year was the 20th anniversary trucks. Yeah. So it seems like this is, for you personally, this is like what you love to do. You love to create.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. It's like your thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, it shows. This is amazing.
Yeah.
So what is this made of right here?
So this is a fiberglass polypropylene honeycomb.
Okay.
So it's basically what we did is we took a really thin gauge steel bird cage, and built like kind of bird cage that tied into the roll bar, tied into the existing body structure of the Wrangler.
Okay.
And then what we did is we took these 3/4 inch panels, which are basically like 1/8 inch fiberglass, a little under 1/8 inch on each side.
Okay.
With a polypropylene honeycomb, and we glued all, CNC cut every panel and glued it on, and then molded some fiberglass transition panels in the top and here. And that's simplifying it a lot.
Yeah.
But that's,
imagine.
I think I personally have about 1,200 hours into this, and one of my guys probably has 400 into it.
Well, let's set this thing up so we can show everybody like what it looks like all set up.
Sure, yeah.
So let's go from the front back. Like this is your galley, and then you got your main door here to go in the camper.
Yeah,
So,
again, it's 3-season outdoor kitchen, right? I don't like cooking in a small space.
Yep.
And the other thing that was really critical was, maximum was a 2-minute setup, including the awning. And that takes, the most time, but it's actually pretty quick.
it was quick.
Yeah, and so I hate like, I see some of these guys and they put their awning out and then they have these walls and all this stuff.
And then this, and then that, and that.
Well, it ends up if they want to just run down and do a shuttle real quick, their vehicle is useless, right, at that point. And so I really wanted to stay away from big, long, elaborate setups and all this stuff. So it's really critical. It's fast and easy. So if somebody's like, hey, run me down to the bottom of the river so I can drop my car off and do a kayak shuttle, no problem. This is the fridge and stove, and you can get to the fridge from the inside.
Okay.
And this is the bigger outdoor stove. So this is...
okay. Oh, with the cook partner.
Yep, partner steel stove.
Yeah.
This is a modified AT slide.
Okay.
National Luna freezer fridge.
You can't beat this setup.
This is a great, super efficient.
Yeah.
It's just, this is like the nicest.
It is. We run this stuff on our expedition trucks, and this is the ticket.
Yeah, you can pretty much count on them, and they're really low energy.
Yeah.
So this is just powered off the solar and the 2 batteries.
Okay.
There is a charge station if you're like, at a house or whatever.
Shore power.
There's shore power on it.
Cool.
So then this is the rest of the galley, and this is basically accessible from both sides.
Okay.
So we got motion lights here.
Awesome.
Outdoor motion lights, cooking light that's kind of aimable.
On a pivot. That's nice. Right above where you're using it too. So you can see into your fridge better. And nice.
And then, like I said, I'm going to put a sink here that turns out that just a clip-on sink.
Okay.
So you have that too. So that's pretty much the cooking.
Okay.
And simple. Then inside, I designed everything to kind of match the Jeep interior.
Just opening the door, and the first time I saw this and I looked in there, I was like, I just want to go in there. It's so come in, so inviting.
Yeah, and it's surprising because I didn't put a ton of time into interior design.
Yeah.
I just kind of did what seemed appropriate.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just really simple.
Cool. And I see you put your main switches here so you can get to them all over.
So basically you got your roof, your motion lights, your interior lights. There's a big ARB twin compressor under the couch.
Looking at the wheel, this is your new wheel.
Yeah, this is our new Bora.
And this is the Bora wheel, okay. And that has multi-stages, right?
Yeah, so you can run it as a true beadlock.
Okay.
Or you can run it as a non-beadlock.
Okay.
And one of the big advantages for that, especially in the expedition or overland market, if you're in the middle of nowhere and you have a problem, it's nice that you have that option of going either which way. So let's just say you actually made it back to a tire shop and you're not in your local area and the tire shop won't work on a beadlock. Yeah. You just mount it traditionally and keep going.
It's like you've been out there doing this or something.
Yeah, for a long time. Before it was popular.
Yeah, before it was cool.
There's our new, we have prototype Bilstein 8100, dual bypass shocks on this thing.
Dual bypass?
Yeah, it's like a real race shock, but we worked with Bilstein to make a race shock into something roadworthy.
Before we go inside, let's take a look at the back and the front too, because there's still stuff going on there. Yep. So I think there's more than meets the eye here. It's so clean and simple, but I know there's more. So what's going on back here?
Yeah, well, there always is, right?
Yeah.
So starting at the top, there's a nice little solar-powered fan. It's
Okay.
just an exhaust fan. You can't hear it. It's just tiny. It's one of those things I learned from boating, where
Okay.
it just always is keeping fresh air going. And it's
Cycling.
separate of all the solar power. It's not wired in. It's just self-contained.
Okay.
But it's nice too, because you just park it in a parking lot. It's always venting air through.
Yep.
You come out, it's not 100 degrees inside.
Cool.
I didn't have to do the clearance lights because it is under 80 inches wide. I just kind of thought it might look cool on this
It
truck.
looks good, yeah.
Backup
touch.
camera, motion light again on the back, just kind of like the one we have on the side.
Yep.
When I was talking about that steel bird cage,
Yeah.
I added threaded bungs that fit through the honeycomb back here.
Okay.
I did 6 mounting points. I wasn't quite sure what. I just knew something was going to go on the back on this big
Yep.
expanse, and I'd build a rack. And maybe I'd have mission-specific racks. Like if we're going jet boating, I might put a rack on with a bunch of fuel cans for that.
Sure.
Or if we're going to do a longer camp, it might set it up different. So
Yeah.
I kind of figured I could put a modular rack on the back.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
LED lights, I wanted a lot of good visibility. One of those things I found like traveling is if you have really bright lights, people tend to like see you and avoid you,
Yeah.
even if they're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Especially like south of the border.
Yep.
So I really wanted these on there. You can step on these. I built these brackets so you could step on them.
Cool.
2 mat tracks. I mean, a vehicle this capable probably doesn't need them, but always
Yeah.
nice to have, and it was a good spot
Great spot for
to
those.
add them. There's 2 stability jacks here that are basically like a scissor jack.
Okay.
And they come down to the ground. They stabilize everything, and you can level it up a bit.
Nice.
Both front to rear and side to side. Those you just have to get out your little 3/4 inch lug nut wrench. So same size as a lug nut. Toe points. I wanted real toe points
Okay.
on this thing. So this is kind of a modified brute bumper.
Yep.
And I wanted good rocker protection all the way around the rear. Again, the tire goes underneath, stock tow hitch, because I just wanted OE reliability on
Yep.
the hitch.
Keep all your ratings and all that stuff.
Yeah, everything's simple and good departure angle.
Great.
Again, it's only 16 inches longer than a Wrangler and doesn't really seem to affect it terribly. I mean, it drags, but I built everything to drag.
Yep.
And there's some marks. I've had this thing off-road in Moab, and these things are built to take it.
Yep.
So,
Just touch them up.
yep.
Keep rolling.
Yep. So
Cool.
I think that's it for the back, and then we can come around this side and I'll show you some more.
Sure. So this side obviously is the utility side. What do we got going on through here?
Yeah, so this is the side. The intent with this is you'd always park facing west. This side would be in the south. So this side's got extra insulation. The roof's extra insulated.
Okay.
So starting again at the top, you've got your solar powered vent, independent of everything else.
Okay.
265 watt flat panel solar.
Yep.
Which worked out amazingly well. It's
Yeah.
way more solar than you need, but I kind of wanted that. So
Yeah.
even on the grayest, darkest days, it
You're
would
making
work.
something. Yep.
Yep. I set the angle up to deal, for the latitude of like Canada and Alaska.
Okay.
It's kind of a balance between here and Alaska. Southern Alaska basically is where I envisioned using this thing.
Sure.
So I set the roof angle to optimize the solar.
Wow.
I made these hinges to kind of match the Wrangler hood hinges,
Okay.
so it looked kind of the part.
Yeah, totally. It looks OE
Yep.
for sure.
Again, just seats, Dometic windows, dual pane. This is the water fill. Again, 24 gallons. We've got the shore power there. And all that does is just goes into a battery charger on the 2 batteries.
Okay.
And it goes into the electric heating element in the water heater.
All right.
So if you plug in, it's just 110, it's nothing special. You're charging your batteries and you're
Keeping your water warm.
keeping your water warm. Yep.
Awesome.
Back here, this is a utility for basically, you can fit a lot of stuff in here. It's really deep. It's the hole underneath of the couch. So I got the heater in here.
Okay.
Got all my recovery gear, and I normally put like chairs, stuff like that in here.
All right.
Down here is the heater exhaust within the exhaust,
Oh, sweet.
which is really clean. I mean, a lot of times they just kind of have this
This thing.
afterthought.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make that really clean. And I think that's, again, the good rocker protection, mud flaps. I hate throwing stones at people. And then we also did the roof rack. Originally, I had this designed with a whole new fiberglass roof. Instead, I went with a kind of an exo-cagey looking thing that protects the leading edge of the camper, because I figured if you're brushing through,
You're gonna hit stuff.
yeah, so it protected the leading edge and gives you a lot of room for, you know, aloe boxes or coolers or whatever you actually, extra stuff you need. You could put an extra tire up there. It's fully built into the roll cage and the whole camper structure.
Yep. Well, let's see what you got going on the front, and then we'll step inside. So in the front, it looks like your AEV package, essentially. What else is there? And then I know there's the Hemi under the hood.
At the end of the day, part of this was to, you know, the JK's out of production, but the parts are still very relevant. There's still a million JKs out there that need high quality parts. So part of the idea of doing this whole camper and spending all this time on this thing was still just to bring relevancy to our parts. So up front, wheels, suspension. Again, this is our high capacity suspension. So this is ideal. This was set up for those guys that have an Overland JK that's 6,700 pounds.
Okay.
So it's a whole new spring. It gets rid of the head toss that a light spring has, and it still has good, like very good ride quality characteristics, even if it's fully unloaded. So it's not just for the guy who's always 67, but you know, a guy who's pretty much heavy all the time.
Who's built up.
Yeah, we finally developed a spring that's ideal for that guy.
Cool.
Our stamped steel hood. This has our Hemi Conversion in it, 5.7. I did the 5.7 on this one mostly because it doesn't use premium fuel, so you can get fuel anywhere. And that's nice. Our stamped steel bumper, which is still, you know, in my opinion, is still one of the best out there 10 years later. The stock bumper is really low. It comes out here.
Yeah.
So people think a full width bumper doesn't have high clearance and they want a shorty, but really they're thinking about bumpers that are out here.
Sure.
And even compared to some of the competitors that may look the same, it's still quite a bit higher out here at the corner and just doesn't seem to get in the way. And, you know, realistic protection from deer and elk strikes for the radiator and headlights.
Yep.
You know, in my world, everything revolves around keeping this part of the car in one piece. This gets you home.
Yep.
So this is critical for impact protection. It's not just a tube bolted on.
Right.
And that was always a critical part of that design, was protect the radiator and headlights at all costs.
Yep. Okay.
Again, it's our high clearance, it's our high steer setup, keeps everything stock as far as angles go.
Okay.
Awesome. This one has a front Dynatrac axle and a rear Dynatrac axle, 488 gears. This has a stock Rubicon locker and a Eaton electric locker in the rear.
Oh, right on.
Yep. That was one thing we changed at some point, just to kind of keep the Rubicon. This started out as a Rubicon.
Sure.
Keep all that factory.
Yep.
Warren 10,000 pound winch. Nothing special with the lights yet. I didn't really do anything. I'll probably upgrade to the new, like the 2017 JK had LED headlights. I'll probably upgrade to those.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah. Our snorkel with the pre-filter on top. I think that's, you know, about it on the front.
Looks great. Shall we go inside?
Let's go inside.
Right, let's go inside. So I've seen this at like 2 or 3 car shows, and the SEMA show, and you don't let anybody in here. Especially the little kids. You're like, no, you're not gonna. And I can see why. This is awesome in here.
Yeah, everybody wants to come in, and you know, you're kind of like, well, you kind of get personal. You know, it's like my house.
Yeah, it's like my house. Yeah. So exclusive inside look here.
Yeah. Well, I've been letting some people in. At SEMA, it wasn't finished. Like everything was in here. It just none of the finishes were on it.
Right.
And I didn't want to confuse people, and you know.
Yeah.
It's still not done, but it's done enough that people get the idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're sitting back here, it's pretty awesome. I mean, we've had 5 guys in here, and you know, if a storm came in, like I think down at Overland Expo, it got really cold at night. We had like 5 guys in here, you know, having a few beers, having the heater on.
Yeah.
And it's really comfortable, and then you realize, you know, you're in here. I mean, we're in here with 2 camera guys right now, and it's comfortable.
Yep.
And you realize you're in a 4-door Wrangler that could go wheeling anywhere. And it's you know, it's kind of interesting. And for a 6 foot wide by 8 foot long space, I think with the way the roof angles, it ends up being, it just feels good. And you know, even if you're a tall guy, you still fit in here, which is interesting. I've had a number of guys like 6'5" in here.
Yeah.
And they're always surprised, like, wait, this is actually
I have headroom in here. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just don't think of a Wrangler that way.
Nope.
And so, you know, again, I'm going to put a little 1-burner stove and sink up here. I just haven't really figured out which one yet. You can get to the fridge, which is nice, and then the galley. You know, this is the other side of the galley.
The other side, okay.
Yeah, that's going to be all plates, knives, cutlery. That drawer that slides out.
Okay.
So this hasn't really gotten established fully yet, but you know, it's kind of one of those things. It's always a work in process.
Yep.
Yep. And then foot locker down here. This is really good sized locker. So I've got extra water down here. I've got a sleeping bag and bunch of shoes and whatnot down there. You know, pillows, blankets. I put a lot of clothes both in the hanging closet and down here. And sometimes I'll pack clothes in here. So it's a couch. The couch is over 80 inches long.
Yep.
So you can comfortably sleep on it if you want to.
Okay.
And that's kind of the interesting thing is everybody's like, well, where do you sleep? And the truth is, it's, again, work in process. I used to have a bed that folded up here. And so when you'd stand up, you'd pull it down and it was kind of cut out right here.
Okay.
And you could sleep on it. But
Yeah.
I realized that I like to, with the roof down, I like to sit like right where you're sitting. If I have a phone conference call or something, I can just pull over and if I'm in cell service and just do it. And with the bed in the air, you couldn't do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a bed right here and bifold it so that it'll go out. And I'm going to take this wall and knock it out.
Okay.
So then it'll end up about doubling the size inside here.
Okay.
And that'll be cool because you'll have your double bed, kitchen, and couch to work on things, and and you're still in the back of a Wrangler.
Yeah.
And it still amazes me how well this space works.
Well, I love the light right here. Like, I just now identified where that light was, but I was like, and that's when you've done it right. If things feel lit, but you can't identify the light source. That
and
is
so
awesome.
we did the underneath lighting on the cabinet and that. I like to, if you wake up in the middle of the night, I like to have good lighting, and you don't really need lighting up here. You need lighting where you're going to walk and trip and, not mess up your night vision.
Yep.
So it's just, I've just been trying to, see what works and what doesn't. This is a woven vinyl product, so it's really durable flooring. It's just, again, on the honeycomb substrate. All the furniture is honeycomb. That's kind of how we kept this whole thing to 750 pounds.
Okay.
The only thing that's wood is we did the face frame and the doors and the countertop in wood. Yeah, this is all honeycomb. So it's like, it almost weighs nothing.
It's got a great look to it, too.
Yeah, it's really difficult to work with, but it's kind of worth it in the end when you can do this whole camper at 750 pounds, including the fridge and the dual batteries, which are 32 pounds apiece.
Yep.
The water tank and the whole system. There's that double air compressors under you, so we kind of hit a lot of stuff in there too. But yeah,
it's the Jeep that keeps on giving. There's all kinds of stuff in here.
There's all kinds of stuff,
Oh, cool. Thank you for showing me. This is rad.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
Yeah, thanks for coming down.